That's you.
Right. So hello, everyone. Welcome to another sneak preview for the Bull City International Film Festival. My name is Kerry Macklin, and today we have Harry Tomlin joining us. How are you doing
Hello.
today?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Really good. Calling from the UK. So yeah, very good, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem.
So just jump right in. What got
Yeah.
you started in filmmaking?
I think it's been a combination of things. I would go to the cinema as a kid with my parents, and I think there's something about that feeling that you get when you watch a film that has a real impact on you. And so I always, as a kid, wanted to kind of try and make things that would have that same impact on somebody else. So I guess that was kind of the spark of it. And then just going through a lot of my life making stupid little films with friends and kind of that collaboration I always really loved. And then just being inspired at different points by different people that I've worked with over the years has been great. So going to film school and meeting loads of great collaborators there has just kind of like grown the passion for filmmaking that kind of started there, I guess.
Okay. And what inspired you to make this particular film, A Fluorescent Sky?
So this film, I think, was originally born out of me just walking past a convenience store, and I saw a father and a daughter just kind of cashing up, and I just found a really interesting dynamic there of a family behind the kind of counter, and what must they do when the store's closed for the day, but also how much does a community still rely on a store like that. And so it felt like a very obvious place for like this very community centered drama to be based around. And then I think just over the 2 years of writing it, it was just a collection of lots of little ideas that I'd had that maybe at the time I didn't think were connected to this story. And then as I was writing these characters, I was kind of plucking ideas from different places and just putting them into this kind of story that felt very, kind of, it encompasses a lot of different characters and a lot of different people and a lot of different ideas and parts of my life and whatever. But this was the first feature that I'd written, so it was really a case of just drawing in lots of little random ideas that I'd had for shorts or for other things, and kind of creating them in one form. So hopefully that's what I tried to do and what we try to do with the film.
Okay, cool. What would you say was your biggest challenge when filming?
So we were originally meant to film this in April of 2020. Obviously, the pandemic really hit.
Push things back.
Yeah, it sort of hit in March, so we had to postpone things. We didn't know. We kind of put things on pause, and then a few months later, as things were starting to ease in the UK, we thought, let's try and fund some more money. Let's try and luckily everybody was really committed to still making this, so we kept pretty much all of the cast and most of the crew still on board, and we shot it in September of 2020, which in the UK was between two lockdowns. So one lockdown had just ended. We had this sort of window of a few weeks, and then we went back into lockdown, which we didn't necessarily know was going to happen. So trying to figure everything around the kind of restrictions that were constantly changing, that was really hard. And then also just generally the kind of low budget nature of it. I think you always come up with kind of creative solutions to problems, and so there are a lot of problems that we were faced with, but ultimately I think that allowed us to kind of adapt and create some sort of interesting solutions to them that I think kind of add to the patchwork of the film, really.
Okay. Do you have a favorite scene that you filmed?
It's funny, I think, because I co-edited it as well. It's funny how your perception changes when you're on set to when you're kind of in the edit. I think on set, some of my favorite scenes were quite, sort of more dynamic scenes and scenes that had a bit more kind of movement and motion and sort of, more kind of visually interesting scenes. I found a lot more exciting whilst we were shooting. So scenes we've got quite a lot of stuff playing with rain and kind of shooting through the window out into the rainy kind of street, and that was quite nice, and people watching and kind of getting little kind of pieces of the outside world that we then repurposed, I guess, into our film. And then in the edit, there's a really nice film between Hector and Lila. It's sort of quite an unassuming scene where she just comes to get some paper round money, but there's just something about that scene that I think has a really nice pace to it and flow, and their performances just really played off each other. And funnily enough, I didn't necessarily think it would work when we were filming it at the time. Wasn't really sure about it, and then when we just got to the edit, there's just something that feels very authentic about both of them in that moment. So yeah, I think some of the quieter scenes like that I much preferred in the edit, and I now, looking back on it, prefer those kind of as an audience member.
Okay. Do you have any projects we can look forward to in the future?
Yeah, so working on, I've made a short since then. Obviously it's been lockdowns, and we've kind of haven't made as much as maybe I would have liked to, but yeah, so I've made one short that we've done since then called The Dwelling, and then a couple of others I've got in development at the moment, mainly short still, just while I'm trying to kind of find funding and be able to kind of do it in a practical way, and do it for sort of no money. So yeah, a couple of shorts I'm developing with people at the moment. So yeah, it's kind of still early days, but I hope that this year will be a really exciting year where I'm able to sink my teeth into more projects.
Okay. And as someone who's gone to film school, what are your opinions on film school? Do you think it's like a necessary part to be a successful filmmaker like yourself?
Well, I don't know if I'm necessarily a successful filmmaker yet, but I am somebody that went to film school, so I can definitely talk about that. I think you definitely don't. I think you shouldn't go into it with too many preconceptions, and shouldn't go into it thinking this is going to be the kind of fast track way into the film industry. I think a lot of people do go into it with that point of view. I think it doesn't necessarily teach you, how to be a filmmaker. It more facilitates you making films, meeting people. I think the most that I got out of my film degree was the colleagues and the friends that I made. We spent just 3 years just pretty much flat out making whatever we want. If we had a spare weekend, we'd make something. If we had a spare week, we'd make a short. So I think those memories and just learning by doing, that was really, really valuable. And I think university gives you that perfect little bubble to do that within. You can make mistakes. It doesn't matter. You can meet people, you can try things, who you work with well and don't work with well. So I think in that sense, it gives you a really perfect opportunity to just learn from doing, aside from the actual academic and what the course gives you. And if one course is better than the other course and anything like that, it's more just building yourself as a filmmaker and working out what you like to do. And so I think it does give you a really great opportunity in that sense. So I definitely would recommend it, but maybe not for the reasons that people kind of think of when they think of film school.
Thank you so much again for joining me.
No worries. No, thank you so much for having our film. It's a real pleasure, and we're really excited to be part of your festival.
Yes, I'm excited to have you. I really enjoyed Fluorescent Sky.
Thank you so much. That really means a lot.